Hi, I'm Shannon Lenz, your spiritual fitness coach. The other day, I was flipping through my Bible looking for a different scripture when my Bible fell open to Habakkuk chapter 3. I'm not sure why I didn't just keep flipping, but my eyes were drawn to this heading: Habakkuk rejoices in the Lord. I realized that I didn't know much about the prophet Habakkuk, and I wondered why he was rejoicing. His book is only 3 chapters long, so I took the time to read it. It was not what I was expecting at all. In Habakkuk's time, the nation of Judah was not walking with the Lord. They weren't living like God's chosen people. They were living like pagans. Habakkuk began by complaining to the Lord about all the sin and corruption he was witnessing. He was frustrated because it seemed as if sin was left unpunished and justice was left unserved. Habakkuk had been crying out to God for help and salvation, but it didn't seem like God was listening to him or answering his cries. God responded that actually he was doing something about Israel's moral corruption and apostasy. He was sending the Babylonians to punish the people of Judah. Habakkuk couldn't believe it. The Babylonians were even more wicked than the people of Judah were. Why would God use ruthless evildoers to punish those who are less evil? It just didn't make sense to him. God responded again, reassuring Habakkuk that yes, he was going to use the Babylonians to execute judgment on his chosen people. But he also assured Habakkuk that the day was coming when he would hold Babylon accountable for its transgressions as well. In other words, the Lord told Habakkuk to trust him. He was taking care of all of it. Which brings me back to Habakkuk rejoicing in the Lord. The occasion for Habakkuk's expression of joy wasn't at all what I was expecting. God didn't give Habakkuk everything he ever wanted. Habakkuk wasn't feeling #blessed because of all the stuff he owned or all the great experiences God had allowed him to have in his life. He wasn't rejoicing because God had just healed him or saved a loved one from death. No, Habakkuk was rejoicing because he had been reminded of the Lord's sovereignty and his ultimate perfect justice. Habakkuk 3:17-19 records his song of praise. Though the fig tree should not blossom, nor fruit be on the vines, the produce of the olive fail, and the fields yield no food, the flock be cut off from the fold, and there be no herd in the stalls, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will take joy in the God of my salvation. God, the Lord, is my strength. He makes my feet like the deer's. He makes me tread on my high places. To the choir master with stringed instruments. I wish I knew the tune the stringed instruments would play back then to accompany this ancient worship song. But I guess I'll have to wait until heaven to find out. In the meantime, my unplanned deep dive into Habakkuk reminded me that true joy is not contingent on our circumstances. Even after receiving the news that his people were about to be conquered and carried off into captivity, Habakkuk worshiped the Lord. In his prayer, he said that even if he had nothing left, he would still find his joy in the Lord, the God of his salvation, who gives him strength. Here's your challenge for today. Write out a prayer of praise to God, no matter what your circumstances are. Remember that God is sovereign. He is in control. One day, he will right all wrongs. If your happiness depends on your circumstances, it will always be easily snatched away. But if your joy is in the Lord and in his salvation, it can never be taken from you. So, rejoice in the Lord always, and let the joy of the Lord be your strength. Then go and win today.